For almost 70 years, south of the border has been the most legendary pit stop for road-tripping Americans on the East Coast. The halfway point to Disney World for some, a place to grab fireworks, a cool bumper sticker, and some cheap toys for others. You couldn't miss the signs, so let's look back at the intentionally campy oasis and gateway to the southeast, south of the border. If you've ever driven to Disney World from the northeastern part of the US, odds are you made a pit stop at south of the border. Located in Dillon, South Carolina for nearly 70 years, south of the border has been a pit stop touchstone for road-tripping American families. And after hundreds of miles of endless trees and straight, endless roads, south of the border truly feels like an oasis in the middle of nowhere. The Vegas of I-95. For those who don't know what the heck I'm talking about, south of the border is a roadside pit stop attraction on Interstate 95 in Dillon, South Carolina, just south of Roland, North Carolina. Themed in a faux Mexican style, south of the border was, and still is, much different than the usual stops along the interstate. Most stops contained a sleepy gas station and maybe a small convenience store with one bathroom, but south of the border was different. It's got restaurants, gas stations, a video arcade, a motel, a truck stop, a small amusement park, a mini golf course, huge indoor shopping areas, a gigantic fireworks store, a campground, and a 200-foot tall observation tower with a sombrero-shaped observation deck. It's also home to the Reptile Lagoon, the largest indoor reptile exhibit in the US. And as a kid who grew up in the 80s and 90s, stopping at south of the border was only second to Disney World. Instead of Mickey, you got south of the border mascot Pedro. After sitting in a car for 500 miles, you'll gladly take Pedro and some cheap fireworks. Trust me. The funny thing is, the south of the border excitement actually started about 150 miles before reaching it. And anyone who's driven that stretch of I-95 knows exactly what I'm talking about. The billboards. Once those famous signs appear on the highway, you're hooked. Black background with neon colors was the usual style. They often told you to make sure and not miss out, to bug your parents to stop. Only 75 miles left, Dad. Slow down. We're gonna miss it. And the signs were always unique, so it kept your attention for miles. Then, 2 hours later, after being yelled at by your parents to shut up for the 20th time, you see it over the tree line. The great sombrero in the sky. You roll up right in front of the biggest fireworks store you'd ever seen. You could spend hours in there, especially if you came from a state where fireworks were illegal. Better hide those Roman candles and atomic wings in the back of the trunk so the popo don't notice on your way home. You'll also notice all the large, strange animals scattered throughout the grounds. Things like giant gorillas, sombrero-wearing dinosaurs, jackalopes, hot dogs. Here's me with a tripped-out cool pink bunny. And here's me with some massively oversized chickens. You can hit up the arcade while your siblings rush in to check out the massive stores, filled with so many cheap road toys it would make your head spin. Those invisible ink game books were an absolute must for me. Also, grab some gag glasses and maybe some Mexican jumping beans. Then after a round of mini golf and checking out the gators, you stop off with the fam to eat some Mexican food or pizza, hit up the bathroom while Dad fills up the family truckster, grab a sweet bumper sticker to smack on the back, and head back on to the desolate road to Disney. I've personally been there more times than I can count. My family used to make the long 1,000-mile drive from New Jersey to Florida back in the 80s and 90s, so south of the border holds a special place in my heart. I still have my serving tray. It's best not to ask. Now I must admit, if you timed it wrong and rolled in after hours, there was a bit of a seedy, almost creepy feel to south of the border. But in the few times I had stopped there in the middle of the night, I never had a bad experience. Either way, I can't get enough of south of the border, and I'm so glad to know it's still chugging along. It's part of the road tripping experience that has unfortunately been slowly fading over the decades, and that honestly sucks. Places like south of the border are what made road trips exciting. It's the odd memories that make the trip special. Would you rather hear about how many times I rode the Pirates of the Caribbean ride? Or the time I posed with a giant tripped out pink rabbit after checking out a taxidermied great white shark while purchasing a box of Mexican jumping beans, Pop Rocks, and $100 worth of slightly dangerous colorful explosives? Exactly. So thanks for backpedaling with me. Let me know if you've ever been to south of the border or if you have any awesome memories of south of the border. Thanks again for backpedaling with me. I'm Tig, and I'll see you in the future!